Have you ever stood in front of a crowd, feeling the microphone cold in your hand, and suddenly your mind goes completely blank? You have the thoughts perfectly prepared in your head, you know the material. But the moment all those eyes lock onto you, your heart races, your throat goes dry, and the silence in the room feels heavier than a mountain. You feel like a director whose camera has suddenly jammed right when it is time to shoot the final scene. If you have ever felt this paralyzing fear of public speaking in a second language, take a slow, deep breath and smile. You are completely normal. We often look at charismatic public speakers and assume they were simply born with a magical gift. We assume they never hesitate, never sweat, and never fear the sound of their own voice. But today, we are going to completely dismantle that myth. Welcome back to Lucky English for Beginners. I am absolutely delighted to have you with me today. Find a comfortable chair, maybe pour yourself a cup of warm tea, and let the outside world fade away for a while. Today, we are going to learn how to conquer the stage. We are going to explore the exact strategies you need to transform the nervous, racing energy in your chest into the powerful, radiant confidence of a master public speaker. Deleting the redundant text overlays. When we stand up to speak in public, our minds are instantly flooded with noise. It is exactly like looking at a beautifully composed visual image, but someone has ruined it by adding huge, flashing, redundant text overlays all over the screen. Your mind starts flashing warnings. Your accent is too strong. You are going to use the wrong verb tense. They think you don't know what you are talking about. If you want to speak confidently in public, you have to become a ruthless editor of your own mind. You must actively delete these redundant textual labels. They do not add any value to your presentation. They only clutter the screen and block your view of the audience. The next time you step up to speak, imagine highlighting those negative, flashing words in your mind and firmly pressing the delete key. Clear the mental space so your true, authentic voice has room to shine through. Putting on the mask of bravery. Sometimes we are too scared to be ourselves when we speak to a crowd. When this happens, use the power of a persona. Just as you might apply a facial mask to a character in a visual design to completely change the story or create a sense of intrigue, you can put on a mask of bravery when you speak English. Pretend you are an actor playing the role of a highly confident, fluent English speaker. Stand a little taller, pull your shoulders back, smile a little wider. When you wear this mask of authority, you give your brain permission to step outside its normal, everyday fears. You fake the physical posture of confidence until the emotional reality catches up. Eventually, you will realize that the powerful voice coming out from behind the mask is actually your own. Resizing your worldview to 16:9. Fear makes our world incredibly small. When we panic on stage, we suffer from severe tunnel vision. We focus entirely on our own racing heartbeat, our own sweaty palms, and our own internal translation process. We get trapped in a narrow, restricted view of reality. To speak beautifully in public, you need to resize your worldview to a wide, cinematic 16:9 dimension. Stop focusing inward and force your attention outward. Look at the audience. Notice the people nodding along with you. Find a friendly face in the second row and speak directly to them. When you expand your perspective to take in the full, widescreen reality of the room, you stop obsessing over your own performance. You realize that a public speech is not a one-way broadcast, it is a shared environment. The processing power of the pause. Speaking a second language in front of a crowd requires an enormous amount of mental energy. It is exactly like rendering a heavy, complex 20-minute video project. Even if you have the mental equivalent of a high-end business-class laptop with 16 GB of RAM, your brain's internal fan is going to spin loudly. It takes processing power. Many nervous speakers rush. They try to get the words out as fast as possible to escape the spotlight, but rushing makes you stumble. Give your brain the RAM it needs to render the sentence. It is completely natural to pause for 3 full seconds, look out at the crowd and take a breath. A confident speaker owns the silence. Silence shows that you are thoughtful, comfortable, and fully in control of the room. The 5-day shadowing crucible. Confidence on stage is built in the shadows long before you step into the light. If you want to train your mouth to move without fear when the pressure is on, you need to build physical muscle memory. This is why undertaking a 5-day English shadowing challenge is an absolute game changer for public speaking. When you listen to a brilliant speaker, perhaps a historical narrative about a prominent world leader delivering an epic speech, and you echo their exact words a split second later, you are borrowing their confidence. You are adopting their rhythm, their packing, and their power. Over those 5 days, your vocal cords learn what it physically feels like to speak without hesitation. You train the body so the mind can follow smoothly. Equipping the arsenal of 500 idioms. Fear often comes from feeling unprepared. When you don't know the right word, you freeze in front of the crowd. But what if you stepped onto the stage carrying an invisible shield of high-level vocabulary? Imagine dedicating yourself to a massive goal, like mastering a complete curriculum of 500 English idioms. When you know how to drop a phrase like, "the ball is in their court," or "we need to go back to the drawing board" into a presentation, you instantly sound like an insider. Having a deep, rich arsenal of idioms allows you to express complex ideas effortlessly. It elevates your speech into a high RPM conversation, one that delivers massive value and commands total respect from the audience. The podcast host mindset. Change the way you view your audience. Don't view them as a terrifying group of judges waiting for you to fail. Change the format of the interaction in your mind. Imagine you are the warm, welcoming host of a highly engaging audio show. Imagine you are recording a live episode of Sania's English podcast. A great podcast host doesn't worry about being perfect. Their only goal is to share a great story and connect with the room. When you treat a public speech like a fireside chat or a friendly podcast recording, the pressure falls completely off your shoulders. You stop worrying about your grammar and start genuinely enjoying the human connection. The authenticity of the human voice. Today, we are surrounded by flawless technology. We have advanced text-to-speech generators and voice cloning tools that can speak English with absolute robotic perfection. But perfection is not what connects human beings to a speaker. If your audience wanted to listen to flawless English, they would just generate an AI audio track. They showed up to hear you. They want to hear the slight catch in your voice when you are passionate about a topic. They want to hear your unique accent. They want to see you smile. Your human imperfections are the very things that make you charismatic and magnetic on stage. The 30-day momentum shift. Public speaking confidence cannot be bought. It must be earned through consistent momentum. If you only speak out loud once a month, you will be terrified every single time you do it. If you commit to a 30-day English learning challenge, making a promise to speak out loud, project your voice, and practice your delivery every single day, something magical happens. By day 15, the fear starts to get bored and fade away. By day 30, speaking confidently is no longer a terrifying event. It is just your default operating system. Confidence is just the byproduct of refusing to quit for 30 days straight. My lucky learners, stepping onto a stage, whether it is a literal stage, a boardroom, or just standing up at a dinner party, is the bravest thing you will ever do. Every time you choose to speak English in public despite the fear, you are not just practicing vocabulary. You are building a stronger, braver, and more powerful version of your own soul. The world is waiting for your ideas. Do not keep your voice trapped in draft mode. Hit publish. Keep practicing, keep improving, and keep being lucky. I will be right here, waiting to walk the next mile of this beautiful mystery with you. Bye for now.